The report on contracts at AHS is released, but the judge behind it admits there could be more to the story. Teachers aren't budging.
We're working in a system that is chronically underfunded and has been for years.
The strike continues as the province wants them back to work soon. And mountaineering women.
You know, there's fundamental dangers and risks that are quite different from the Rockies.
Celebrating resilience at high altitude.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. A new report from an independent judge into multi-million-dollar procurement contracts from Alberta Health Services finds conflicts of interest were widely known, but no action was taken by senior officials. Mark Villani is live outside McDougall Centre, and Mark, the report found no evidence of wrongdoing from the Premier, her ministers, or their staff, but the report was limited in scope and a lot of questions weren't answered.
Well, Ian, former Manitoba Judge Raymond Wyant went through this report all the way back in March of this year. It's a 43-page report. He interviewed 26 people, reviewed 2 million documents. Wyant says that Premier Smith and her ministers did not participate. They weren't asked. Meanwhile, some people declined interviews and others refused to answer certain questions. Now, according to the judge, his limited powers to compel evidence under oath meant that he couldn't make definitive statements. Now, Wyant did, however, find that 2 senior Alberta Health Services staff members were in, quote, real or perceived conflicts of interest involving the procurement of children's pain medication from Turkey and chartered surgical facility contracts. He went on to make 18 recommendations in this report, including implementing a centralized system for conflict of interest declarations tied to AHS and requiring a procurement lawyer review contracts valued over $10 million. Wyant also concluded that AHS procurement in these cases weren't consistent with its own policies, that decision makers failed to exercise due diligence, legal reviews, and proper disclosures of conflicts of interest. Alberta's NDP says that alone should be enough to have a public inquiry, but Premier Smith disagrees.
This confirmed, I think, the fact that we needed to move in this direction, that AHS had bad practices, that senior leadership was not enforcing their own policies, and it confirmed why it is we have to be more hands-on on this. So I feel like we have the information that we need to be able to correct the issues.
Now, former Alberta Health Services CEO Asana Mentzelopoulos, who was fired earlier this year after bringing these allegations to light, told us today in a statement that it's clear Judge Wyant's findings confirm the procurement governance concerns she was looking into and what AHS is continuing to investigate. AHS also got back to us today. They say they accept the results of this Wyant report and that they will be looking at implementing these recommendations. Ian.
Mark, thanks very much. There's still no plan for Alberta teachers to return to work despite some stern words and a new written request from the province. The government tried to force the issue yesterday through a letter to the Alberta Teachers Association requesting educators go back to class on Monday. That letter promised enhanced mediation would be undertaken as classes resume, but the ATA says it also made clear class sizes would not be included in those negotiations. That's a major sticking point for both sides.
There's many different approaches and ways in which we could address that, but we don't seem to hear those constructive proposals coming from the union leaders at the bargaining table.
We're working in a system that is chronically underfunded and has been for years. We needed to see about $1 billion just to come to the Canadian average in budget 2025.
The province says a back-to-work order could be in the cards as soon as October 27th if a deal can't be reached. The ATA wouldn't say Friday if its members would comply. 3 people are dead in less than 24 hours after crossing city streets, and police are urging both drivers and pedestrians to pay attention. Tyson Fedora joins us from Woodlands, and Tyson, that's the scene of the most recent pedestrian fatality.
And Ian, residents we spoke with here say that unmarked crosswalk behind me where a woman was killed last night, says there's just not enough lighting or markings to actually show that that is a crosswalk here in this area. And of course, last night, a woman in her 80s was struck and killed here. And police are now investigating whether or not speed was a factor in that crash. Now, police were called around 8:30 yesterday evening to 117th Avenue Southwest and Wood Park Boulevard Southwest after an elderly woman was hit while crossing the intersection. The driver, a 20-year-old man, remained here at the scene. Impairment, however, is not considered to be a factor, but speed is being investigated. Just 13 hours prior to that, a woman in her 70s was killed in a hit and run in Riverbend. She, too, was also in an unmarked crosswalk. The driver, a man in his 20s, fled the scene. He returned several hours later, turning himself into police. Meantime, a 47-year-old man was killed around 9 o'clock Wednesday evening when walking against the light. Police say all of the incidents were preventable and have a message for drivers and pedestrians.
There's no lines on some of these unmarked crosswalks. They're not zebra crossings. They're not standing out to these people. So as pedestrians, make sure you know what you're doing and you're wearing reflective clothing. If you see a pedestrian on the side of the road, anticipate that that person is likely to step out. If they don't, then that's fine, but anticipate so you are prepared to stop your vehicle at any time.
October is Pedestrian Awareness Month, and in just 2 weekends from now, the clocks will fall back, so less daylight, and police are warning that that's when drivers and pedestrians need to be more cautious on the roads. And this time, there have been 30 fatal collisions in the city this year alone. 11 of those have involved pedestrians who have died, nearly matching last year's total of 13. Ian?
Some tragic numbers there. Thank you, Tyson. Fatality inquiry into a deadly rollover at the Columbia Ice Field is underway. In July of 2020, 3 people died and 14 were injured after a tour bus tumbled down an embankment. Police did not lay criminal charges, but the bus operator pleaded guilty to charges under Alberta's Occupational Health and Safety Act and was fined. Fatality inquiries don't assign blame. Instead, they make recommendations to prevent similar deaths. Monday is voting day for the municipal election. Polls will be open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voters can use the online Where to Vote tool to find the polling location nearest to them. And CTV News Calgary will have complete results, reaction, and analysis on election night. Tune in at 11 p.m. for coverage from Calgary and across southern Alberta. Calgary's WordFest is celebrating 30 years of connecting authors with readers. 50 authors are taking part in the WordFest Imaginarium, the festival's signature event. And more than 90% of those writers are Canadian. Authors say they're excited to be part of the event because they like to interact with the people who are enjoying what they've created on paper. WordFest organizers say the show is one of the hottest in the country.
We're more than a festival. We're more than you think we are. We are human-powered delight. We are lively engagements. We are questions answered and answers questioned. We are the personification of all that is good about people, and we need the idea of bright ideas in dark times more now than ever before.
And the festival runs until Sunday. There are several events this weekend. And Danielle, I guess the beach reading season is far behind us.
Way gone.
With all the things happening this weekend, it is sitting by the fireplace reading.
Yeah. And Saturday will be brighter than Sunday, but both days will be warmer than today. So there's some news for you. Today was cool. Most communities in southern Alberta just in those single digits, and in fact some communities just hovering around that freezing mark right now. For us in Calgary, we're sitting at 7, and that live shot doesn't look too bad, but it is pretty gloomy out there. We do have rain in some parts of the city as well. We have the potential for even some thunderstorm activity. We've already had thunderstorms in parts of southern Alberta this afternoon. We have the potential of seeing that in Calgary over these next couple of hours. Then that chance dies out, but the cloud cover will stick around through the overnight hours. So will the wind. The winds will shift though and come out of the west mainly tomorrow. It will be bright tomorrow, all sunshine, and we'll get back into those double digits. That's your 24-hour forecast brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thAvVW.com.
Thanks, Danielle. We told you yesterday about provincial health ministers meeting in Calgary. Today, the federal health minister joined them. Still ahead, how Alberta stood apart from the other provinces, and how a search of Calgary's new arena site led to a discovery of undocumented workers. Also, if you have a news tip, text us at 10400. Immigration officers claim they found 4 undocumented workers after searching a Calgary construction site this week. On Wednesday, Canada Border Services Agency inspected the team working on the event center after receiving a tip about the work site. Because it's a large site, immigration officers asked Calgary police to be there as an extra security measure. The 4 individuals found without status are required to report to the CBSA office this week. The investigation is ongoing. The federal government introduced its revamped border security bill today. It includes the hiring of 1,000 more Canada Border Services Agency officers. There will also be changes to benefits to allow frontline workers to retire after 25 years, regardless of age. The original bill was considered too intrusive and would have included new powers to access personal information and search mail. Okay, Danielle, you have a whole bunch of things going on.
Yeah.
All over the province. Lots of weather, active weather.
Lots of things happening. This season is always interesting. Keeps us on our toes.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people saying, well, whatever today, whatever tomorrow, as long as it's good for Halloween. Right? I'm making excuses for today. All right, so today we've had showers in the city. We've had fairly windy conditions in the city. Nothing compared to what's been going on south of Calgary, and I'll show you that in just a second. And look at these cool temperatures. So Drumheller did get into the double digits today, but all the other places on this map showing temperatures, as you can see, single-digit highs. And it's just 1 degree right now in Milk River, just 3 in Lethbridge. So our 7 doesn't look so bad compared to that. Also 7 in Medicine Hat, 8 in Brooks, 6 in Pincher Creek. Check out how windy it was in Pincher Creek today. Maximum wind gusts 89 kilometers per hour and 81 in Lethbridge. So this corridor is certainly very gusty today. It will continue to be gusty tonight and tomorrow, but closer to 60 kilometers per hour there as opposed to the 90. And for us in Calgary, we had a gust so far, maximum gust of 35 kilometers per hour. We're looking at 40 kilometer per hour gusts, so a little higher for this evening, even for the overnight. So you'll hear that in bed. And then tomorrow throughout the day. But a key thing about tomorrow throughout the day is all of this active weather will be done with. So we talked about the potential for thunderstorm activity today. You can see that around the Hanna area and just tracking towards Saskatchewan, but now the lightning has died out. Some have developed in the foothills as well, tracking towards Highway 2, but again, has died out as well. These are quick. They don't last very long. These are non-severe, but they come with lightning and decent downpour. And we have the potential of even seeing that activity in Calgary for the next hour or two, and then that chance is gone as this starts to make its way out. So we're by our forecast showing you that just after the midnight hour, this is all mainly cleared out. We'll just have some residual cloud cover in the overnights, and then tomorrow it's all sunshine for us. So enjoy the sunshine. We'll get back into the double digits. It will be windy tomorrow, 40 kilometer per hour gusts in the city. And then by Sunday, the clouds increase, and we even have the potential, as you can see here, for some isolated showers. Not as much as today, but isolated showers here and there possible throughout the day. And then later in the day, this is suggesting thunderstorm activity possible up the QE2 and to the west of the QE2 again on Sunday. Saturday, bright though. Temperatures, double digits tomorrow. But yes, a little bit on the windy side. And then the Sunday, clouds increase, showers are possible, even a non-severe thunderstorm, but still that high of 11. We'll hang on just barely to the double digits as we head into Monday, but we'll likely still hang on to some of that cloud cover as well. And by Monday, a small chance of showers, but we'll get back into the teens for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week with mainly sunny skies.
Federal health ministers in Calgary to meet with provincial and territorial health leaders. The group committed to working together to strengthen Canada's healthcare system. They also discussed recruiting more doctors and nurses. A coordinated immunization program was also supposed to be on the agenda, but it's more complicated now that Alberta is charging for the COVID vaccine. So the topic has been pushed to the next meeting.
We really put this to the next meeting because we want to have a more fulsome discussion. We know vaccine hesitancy is real. We know that there is an opportunity to look at how do we work together.
And the next meeting is planned for December 31st. It's a festival that celebrates mountain films and books. Just ahead, one of the books featured next month in Banff, honoring women who take on extreme high-altitude challenges. The markets wrap up a complicated week. Joining me is Dave Popowich, Portfolio Manager with the Popowich-Carmeli Advisory Group. And Dave, quite a combination of ingredients on the markets this week.
Complicated. I like that word. How are you this afternoon, Ian? Let's go with that. I would call it a bit of a wicked brew of ingredients that the markets had to overcome this week. You think about last Friday, of course, we had the escalation again of the U.S.-China difficult trade relationship, shall we call it. This Thursday, there were some cracks in the credit markets in the U.S. banking system, in particular in the U.S. regional banks, and that scared markets, thinking that there might be some bigger underlying problems rather than it just being isolated to one or two loans. And then we've got this backdrop of a potential AI bubble, right? Valuations are too high, and the investment companies are making in their artificial intelligence infrastructure just may have gone too far too fast. So that's the backdrop. And, despite all of that, and despite the fact that we had a down day for the TSX on Friday today, it was a positive week for all of the major North American indexes. So all's well that ends well, my friend.
And next week, it's a full 5 days of trading. There's no holidays. So what are you expecting when the markets open on Monday?
Yeah, I think we've got to keep our eye on corporate earnings still. That's, of course, was the strength, really, of all the wicked brew issues I talked about this week. So next week, we have to watch that. We got the Bank of Canada's business survey. How's Canadian business confidence holding up amongst all of this? Be interested to see that. And then we've got the Canadian inflation data. Are tariffs having an impact on Canadian inflation? And will either of those things influence the Bank of Canada's next rate decisions, which is expected to lower rates by a quarter point by the end of this year?
Always more data to digest. Thanks very much, Dave. Have a great weekend.
You too, Ian. See you later.
Meta is outlining new safety tools for teens. The owner of Instagram and Facebook is rolling out a number of AI tools. Starting next year, parents will be able to turn off their kids' chats with some digitally generated characters, with the exception of Meta's main AI assistant. The changes come as the social media giant and AI chatbots in general face criticism over potential harms posed to younger users. The judge who investigated a controversy at Alberta Health Services says he found no evidence of wrongdoing by government officials, but admits there may be more to the story. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. Retired Manitoba Chief Judge Raymond Wyand admits that witnesses were not under oath and several people actually declined to be interviewed. Coming up at 6, we'll have more reaction to the report, including why the NDP says the central question about AHS procurement remains unanswered. Also ahead, Alberta teachers will continue to be off the job next week. Coming up, how the strike will impact upcoming diploma exams. Ian.
Thanks, Tara. The Banff Centre Mountain Film and Book Festival celebrates its 50th anniversary this year. The content is sure to provide plenty of adrenaline-inducing, heart-stopping, and even thought-provoking moments. Among those featured, author Joanna Croston, whose new book is Mountaineering Women Climbing Through History. And joining me is Joanna Croston. It's great to see you.
You too, Ian. Thanks for the invitation.
This book really is a first of its kind, the first to focus specifically on high-achieving women mountain climbers. Are you surprised that no one's done a book like this before?
Yes, I am, and that's why I felt compelled to write it, actually. In my job here as the director of the festival, we've had so many amazing women come through, tell their stories, but yet they were sort of largely unrecorded. A few of them had memoirs and so on, but this book is really a compilation of a whole bunch of amazing stories, and so I feel really proud and honored to be able to tell those.
And you're a mountain climber yourself. You've done a number of 11,000-foot peaks, but not the, say, 20,000-plus foot peaks that are featured in this book. What makes these women so exceptional?
Well, you know, first of all, they sort of came to fame and did these climbs in a really male-dominated world, and so they're very exceptional in that way, in that they had the courage and bravery to sort of go over that hurdle, not to mention to actually do the climbing itself. And the difference, I think, with climbing in the greater ranges, that would be the Himalaya, for example, or some of the higher peaks in South America, you know, there's fundamental dangers and risks that are quite different from the Rockies. Weather, altitude, of course, and how that affects your body. And so these climbs are truly, really remarkable for lots of reasons, physical and both mental, I think.
To see my extended interview with Joanna Croston, visit ctvnews.ca/Calgary. It's pretty blustery in terms of our weather conditions in various parts of Alberta right now, and that is working in tandem with cooler weather conditions. Danielle has the complete weekend details coming up. We had warmer conditions for much of the work week, but it's really cooled off in time for the weekend.
Oh, it sure has. I mean, 18 was the high yesterday. Today, 12 was our high, but that was at 2 a.m. This afternoon, we only got as high as 7, which is our current temperature. Yeah, 11 is what's normal for this time of year. So I guess you could say we got above normal, but we weren't above normal in the afternoon hours. Okay, we will get to normal for Saturday and Sunday. This is where we should be for this time of year. It will be windy tomorrow, 40-kilometer-per-hour gusts throughout the day, in the morning as well. And I will say it will also be gusty tonight, so you'll hear that. Might wake you up. All right, sunshine for tomorrow, and then Sunday we have a decent chance of some showers, smaller chance of showers on Monday.
Thank you, Danielle. An Edmonton group is supporting local charities while supporting each other. It's practically an assembly line every Tuesday morning at St. Andrew's United Church as the quilting queens of Edmonton get busy. This weekend, all proceeds from their sale support the Jessica Martel Memorial Foundation, an organization that helps people escaping domestic violence. Quilts with an Oilers theme are a big hit in Edmonton, and the oldest member of the group, 100-year-old Joyce McCrory, is working on one of them.
She just goes. When she joined us, we never believed she was as old as she said.
Selfishly, it's good for me. It's good to belong to the group.
And organizers say they always welcome new members to join them on Tuesday mornings, even younger ones. Thanks for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.